Hey y'all, Irix Guy here, and I want to do a quick review, a quick and honest review of the Rolex 114300. Now this has the polar dial, commonly referred to as just a white dial, but collectors like to call it polar. Obviously you've got the oyster style bracelet. There's a few things you don't get in this piece that, this is an Oyster Perpetual, so it's, in the past, it was kind of, as the famous Archibald Chesterfield III may call it, he might would call it a dog. But now it's really not. It's actually become a very desirable piece. A lot of collectors, they like monochromatic white dial or a black dial. Simplicity. This doesn't have a date, so there's no date cyclops. It's just a very clean looking, piece. This is something you could swim with. This is something you could wear to a, to a formal occasion. This is something you could wear. I shower with it. Who cares? It's a capable piece. The wrist presence at 39 millimeters is, in my opinion, about perfect. Comparing it to a Submariner, this reference Submariner is a 40 millimeter, but just to kind of compare here, stare and compare, this doesn't look small. And the fact that it has a white dial, white actually looks larger than black. So, nothing wrong with 39 millimeters. 39 millimeters is perfectly acceptable. I've got a 7.5-inch wrist, and I'm gonna show you here. So, there's the Submariner, 40 millimeters. Now I'm going to put on the 114300, 39 millimeters. Very acceptable wrist presence without being too big. If you like a bigger watch, this is going to be bigger than your 36 millimeter Datejust or your 36 millimeter Oyster Perpetual, but it's not going to be huge. The profile, very lean. That's something a lot of people, including myself, like. This has more of a curved type side of the case, whereas a Submariner has more of a, a kind of boxy, less curved. So, there's some differences here. One thing you don't get, see, the Submariner's got that in there, which is called GlideLock. You can make micro adjustments if you get, maybe you've been eating a bunch of junk, kind of get fat, or maybe you've been working out and you get skinny. You can make micro adjustments with the Submariner without using tools. This Oyster Perpetual, you don't have that GlideLock system. You've just got, a basic clasp. It does the job. You get skinny, you get fat. It's time to break out the tools, Bubba. Use your tools and or go to your authorized dealer and adjust your bracelet. So that's one thing that may make this less desirable than the Submariner or some of the other Rolex stainless steel sports. With that being said, the overall build quality, the wrist presence, just the clean look. You've got a nice looking dial. You've got obviously this is a superlative chronometer. It's an in-house Rolex movement. So you're not getting junk by any means. The bracelet, it uses screws. It's a high quality bracelet. You can see those screws right there. So if you need to remove links or you need to take links out, you can do it. The clasp itself, it does have, let's see here. Let's see if I can show you on the inside here. Yeah. So although it doesn't have micro adjustments, you or your authorized dealer can adjust inside of the clasp. So I've got it at this position, but there's several other positions available in there as well. So to get a good wrist fit, It's easy to do. I like how this piece is kind of flat. And, you know, if you're wearing a dress shirt, you know, this isn't a super dressy watch, but, you know, if you're like a lot of people, you're probably not into the precious metals watches anyway. So, you know, if you're not into precious metals, this, in my opinion, would be much more of a dress watch than a Submariner. I mean, yeah, I mean, I can wear this with a suit too, but, you know, I look at this as more of a swim watch. I look at this as more of a, hey, you know, I might have a business meeting, or, you know, or maybe I'm going to some sort of party or something, and I'm probably not going to get wet. But if I do get wet, this does have acceptable water resistance. You know, so this isn't something, again, it doesn't have the trip lock crown like the Submariner, but this is highly water resistant. You know, I feel that I could be thrown in a pool, or, you know, maybe survive jumping off the side of a boat. With this on my wrist, I probably wouldn't be that concerned. Definitely wouldn't be concerned with the Submariner. So, you know, just a good look. This is the Oyster style bracelet. You know, some people, if you're looking at the Oyster Perpetual, you know, you might be looking at Datejust, and you might be looking at Datejust that have the Jubilee style bracelet. You know, and there's Datejust on Oyster. But at least at the time of filming this, Jubilee is not an option for the Oyster Perpetual. But I like this one because, and again, the current reference, this is old. I've had this a long time. But the current reference Oyster Perpetuals, their hour markers, I think they've got some that, and I don't think they do. I know they've got some that double up. So in my opinion, this, with just the single, I guess you would call them batons, I think that looks a lot cleaner. The fact that this is a white, in Rolex terms referred to as a polar dial, I think it's just a very timeless, very clean look. You know, it's not an obnoxious color that could go out of style. You know, if you ever care about trading or selling or whatever, you know, sticking with monochromatic could be a good decision. Again, trends change, but, you know, one thing's certain about Rolex, and that's that, you know, they're all about, you know, timeless pieces. You know, they mess around a little bit with their sister brand Tudor. You know, Tudor right here. I mean, they're a lot more innovative with Tudor than they are Rolex, but, you know, this is just a classic, very simplistic, you know, nothing fancy about it. Doesn't say, oh, well, that's, you know, that's whatever reference. You know, this is just a understated Rolex that is very well made. Again, does not have what you get in the Rolex stainless steel sports. You don't get that GlideLock, at least in this reference, you don't. But the 39 millimeters, again, I feel is perfect. I got a 7.5-inch wrist. 36 on me just doesn't look big enough. For me, I would say anywhere between 39 and 42 is perfect. When I go a little bit larger, this is my second to largest piece, Panerai PAM 112, which is 44 millimeters. I've got a Breitling Super Avenger that's 47 millimeters. That thing's a beast. But just kind of an everyday, you know, if you want to get a one and done, as people might refer to it as, if you want to get a one and done Rolex, it doesn't scream, hey dude, that's a Rolex, Oyster Perpetual, it's, you know, it's a great choice. But I would definitely encourage you to try it on at your authorized dealer, because, you know, what fits someone else's wrist may not fit yours, especially if you're looking at the 36 or the 34s. Those things can, you know, depending upon your wrist size, they may seem underwhelming. And, you know, for some people, this 39 may seem a little bit too large. You know, your size may be 36 millimeter or something else. So, you know, what works for one person doesn't work for everyone. You know, my best advice, and I'll give a shout out to Archie Luxury again, Archibald Chesterfield III, the Pontiff. Without a doubt, the most knowledgeable wristwatch connoisseur in the entire world. Oxley State High is where he hails from. That dude knows stuff inside and out. I don't claim to know anywhere close to the knowledge that you know, I don't claim to possess close to the level of knowledge that he possesses. But with that said, he's a great trainer. You know, he's trained me well to stay away from dogs. And you know, and this is a great piece. You know, again, something that, you know, you could wear formal occasion, something you can swim with, something you can use everywhere. And if, you know, there's a lot of people that don't like the Submariner just because it has a stigma associated with it. Like people that aren't even like wristwatch connoisseurs, they get a Submariner and they think they're the coolest dude in the block. So this doesn't say that. This doesn't even necessarily say, hey dude, it's a Rolex. Check out my Rolex, man. This is just kind of an understated, perfectly, in my opinion, perfectly sized, perfectly proportioned watch. You know, I consider this a sports watch. Some people might not. I swim with this. I wear this to formal occasions. You know, wear it to business functions, whatever. You know, it blends in everywhere. And the fact that it has a white dial, again, even though it's a 39 millimeters, which there's a negligible size difference between 39 and 40. I mean, there's negligible. That's 40 millimeter 114060. This is 39 millimeter 114300. Negligible size difference. But the fact that that has a white dial, if you want something that's smaller on the wrist, yet looks larger, that white dial, just because of the color, white is going to wear larger visually than black or another darker color. So, you know, just something really cool. And just as a quick comparison here too, you know, if you're looking at the, you know, at the 114300, just to put this beside the, whoa, almost knocked my strap off, man. Put it beside the Black Bay 58 Tudor, just to kind of give you a good visual there. I mean, this is a very, things keeps wanting to squirm around. There we go. Stay sit still, Tudor, Tudor. Yeah, so I got that right there. But just, I mean, it's a good size. And again, something simple. You know, it doesn't have any sort of, you know, if you're kind of under the radar watch connoisseur or whatever, maybe you want a one and done. You don't want to have the reference on your wrist that people that are in the know say, well, that cost X amount of dollars or whatever. This is a very understated Rolex. It's not something that screams that it's a Rolex. It does say it on the dial. So if people are in the know, they're going to be like, yeah, man, nice OP, nice Oyster Perpetual. But your average Joe or Jane on the street is probably not going to say that's a Rolex. So, you know, that's a value add of, you know, of considering the Oyster Perpetual over, say, a Submariner. So, I don't know. Watch collecting is a tough cat. You know, there's so many opinions. And, you know, my best advice is go to the authorized dealer, try it on, see how it fits and feels on your wrist. Don't be sold. You know, go with what feels good for you. And if you need professional advice, check out Archie Luxury, man. I'm going to flash up his YouTube card. Archie Luxury is the pontiff. I've been watching him ever since I got my Omega Seamaster 300M with a blue wave dial. I mean, he has more watch knowledge than anyone else in the world, in my opinion. So, you know, definitely check out his videos. I'm posting videos. I like to have fun, and I like to share, you know, potentially entertaining and potentially educational videos such as this one. You know, again, I'm not an expert. I just like to have fun and you know, enjoy the journey of collecting watches, you know, and finding the subtle differences. And you know, there's a lot of dislikes that'll be discovered along the way, and that's completely normal. But with that being said, it's hard to dislike something that's so simple and so timeless as the 114300 Oyster Perpetual. Especially with this white dial. The black dial is nice too. I'm personally not a fan of the other color dials that they have, although some of y'all may be. You know, I like to stick, you know, with monochromatic. I do like some blues. You know, I like the Tudor Black Bay 58 blue. I like my Breitling Super Ocean Heritage 2 that has blue. And, you know, it's a matter of personal preference. You know, where do you want to be with your wristwatch collection? You know, and when you rotate, do you want huge visual differences, or do you want to have just subtle differences among the pieces that you might wear throughout the week. And my thing is, I like subtle differences. You know, I like something that's, you know, slight different color, or something that's a different case style. You know, I don't like anything blingy. You know, I like good core reference content. That's what I'll call it, core reference content. Tell me what you think within the comment section below, and be sure to subscribe. And when you do, ring that bell icon to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, Captain Irix Guy here. I hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to subscribe. It's youtube.com/Irix Guy. And ring that bell icon when you do to be notified whenever I post another video. Thanks for your viewership, and y'all have a good day.